What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we had a brand new video looking at the SEC denying yet another Bitcoin ETF, but this time it is Grayscale, which already has the Bitcoin Trust, and I think it is like the largest one in the world. Could be wrong, but they're fighting back, announcing that they're going to sue the SEC for this decision, which is kind of makes sense why people are so upset with everything that's coming out and all the positivity that was towards this ETF. But on top of that, we already have Bitcoin future ETFs. We have a Bitcoin short ETF. We have all these different instruments, but not a Bitcoin spot one, which seems like it would be the easiest one to understand from a retail investor's point of view to protect the investor. So you can see right here, this is just a lot of people talking about the denial of this SEC rejecting GBTC, which is Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They want to change it from the trust and convert it into an ETF. So it's not going to be something super new. It's still going to be GBTC. It's like the ticker, and everyone's still going to treat it kind of how they were before, but now it would actually be an ETF, not a trust. So, but apparently this was expected by everyone. It really was. No one thought the SEC was going to do anything to actually pass this, but the GBTC lawyers, commentators, and everyone thought it was just going to get shut down. The point was to get the market rules for ETF approval via core, no need to panic, and then saying cheap stats are a nice thing to have. So a lot of people expected this to happen. A lot of people just said, the SEC is going to reject it. But now we have Grayscale that they announced that they are suing and filing a lawsuit against the SEC. So now we would get what has to be done to launch an ETF, to be a spot Bitcoin ETF. What are the parameters that you need to do? Because right now, it just seems like they just deny everyone, but then pass derivatives of Bitcoin instead of spot Bitcoin. And derivatives are always way more complex than just a spot ETF. Like the futures market, people might buy futures thinking they're just buying a Bitcoin ETF, when in reality, you're buying a super complex derivative of Bitcoin, and it's not going to follow the price of Bitcoin. So kind of weird. And then they also have a shorting one. So, I mean, they just are missing the spot one. We can see Grayscale saying, "We are deeply disappointed by and do not agree with its decision, the SEC's decision." And the SEC also rejected Bitwise's application for a spot Bitcoin ETF on the same day. So 2 rejections on the same day. I mean, there's been countless times people and companies have wanted to get a Bitcoin spot ETF. Every single time the SEC shuts it down. Every time, without fail, we just expect it at this point. And I think it's probably a good thing, Grayscale suing the SEC, at least to get the parameters for why are they doing this? What can people do to actually get a spot Bitcoin ETF out there? And as they said, the proposed ETF failed to meet the standard designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative practices and to protect investors and public interest, the regulator said. So, big question for these guys. Do they not know what the blockchain is? Because the blockchain will tell you everything, and it can be audited by anyone. So you can see what's going on. You don't have to trust that this ETF actually is holding Bitcoin. You can show their wallet and say, this is the exact amount of Bitcoin they have. You can see the inflows, the outflows, when people buy, when people sell, if Bitcoin moves, if Bitcoin stays. You don't have that with normal ETFs and stocks. You just kind of trust when you buy the S&P 500. If you buy VOO or VTI, you're getting a portion of all of these stocks, and VTI just goes and buys it for you. But there's no way you can see all of those stocks kind of sitting in one place. It's just VTI has them. So I don't know why this is such a big thing with to prevent fraud and all this. Like, you can look directly on the blockchain and stare at the Bitcoin wallet that has the Bitcoin in it. And another thing they put out says the SEC's identification of possible sources of manipulation in the spot market includes people with a dominant position in Bitcoin attempting to manipulate its price, hacks on trading platforms, and Tether's purported role as a stablecoin in the broader ecosystem. I mean, what does that really have to do with Bitcoin? Tether provides liquidity. It's the biggest stablecoin. USDC is actually kind of catching up to it, but Tether has successfully redeemed like $17 billion in redemptions so far. And people are saying, see, this is the death spiral. They're redeeming the money. They're not redeeming it. They're not putting things on with or freezes. They are giving people their money 1 to 1. So it doesn't make sense why people are so scared about this. And then saying, possible sort of manipulation from people with dominant positions. What about when a company goes public? What about when the founder of a company owns 30% of the company? Is he dangerous and could manipulate the price? Is Elon Musk way too dangerous to Tesla, and Tesla stock should be taken off the market because Elon Musk has a little too much influence over his company? That's just ridiculous. That's so crazy to even think. Like, yeah, there are people who have lots of Bitcoin and have lots of money in Bitcoin. And if they dumped, the price goes down. But that's the same for every single asset. If Elon Musk dumped his Tesla shares, the price of Tesla would collapse. If these other company founders dump their shares, their company stock price will go down. They should know this, right? This is the SEC. And next, we have a decision on Grayscale spot-based ETF has been held back as the regulators requested additional comment from the public. More than 11,400 comment letters were submitted to the SEC since November, 99% in support of Grayscale's application. 99% of people wanted this to happen, wrote to them, said they wanted it to happen, and want to see Grayscale turn into an ETF. Yet they rejected it. That doesn't make any sense. There is way, way more support for this. Vast support. 1% of people say, I think it's a bad idea. And it's probably the SEC. 99% want this to go through, want to get the spot Bitcoin ETF, and for some reason, the SEC still says no. And this is exactly what they did. The regulator, the SEC, requested additional comment from the public, got a 99% we want this, and then denied it. Make it make sense. And Grayscale ends this off saying the SEC is failing to apply consistent treatment to similar investment vehicles and is therefore acting arbitrarily and, a word I've never seen before, in violation of Administrative Procedure Act and Securities Exchange Act of 1934. So hopefully through all of this mess, we just get clarity as to what the SEC is doing, why are they being so irrational, and why are they passing future ETFs and derivative ETFs and shorting ETFs, and they're not passing a spot Bitcoin ETF. Little weird. It gets a sense of they can make tons of money on the futures ETF because they can charge you fees and perpetual swaps and futures so that you have to continue paying them fees. They can make a lot of money there. Shorting the Bitcoin, they can make a lot of money there. Providing you a derivative, they can make a lot of money through fees, but providing you a spot Bitcoin ETF, they can't figure out how to make money off of that. So that's the only thing that I can think of is there's no way, how do we make money off of this, even though you can still charge a fee for the ETF and say 1%, kind of fee for structuring or managing the ETF, kind of like what VTI did. I think VTI is way lower than that, but you can charge some sort of fee for that, and then that's how you can make money. But it just doesn't make sense. Like, that's the only thing I can think of the SEC not wanting a spot Bitcoin ETF because they haven't figured out how to make money off of it. So we'll see how this all goes down with Grayscale. Hopefully they can go to court, get the SEC to actually put out these layout, whatever it needs to be done on how you can structure ETF, how you got to do it to get it approved. They'll probably still reject it, but hopefully we get some sort of clarity through this as to what is going on in the SEC's mind, because literally they say it's not transparent, but Bitcoin and blockchain way more transparent than the financial system now. And the manipulation much harder to do on Bitcoin than it is to do in the traditional system. Maybe that's the big problem. But only time will tell how this all settles out. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.